Has already called on 30,000 reservists to help beef up security around Gaza. But we want to talk about this with CNN military analyst and retired Lieutenant General Mark Hertling. General, thank you so much for being with us. How likely is some sort of compromise or ceasefire?
I don't think it's very likely right now, Christy. It's an escalating situation, and this occurs, if you look at the trend lines, this occurs every few years between Israel and Gaza, and also with Hezbollah in the north. So the two-front war that Wolf mentioned yesterday with both the north and the western part of Israel is something that occurs on a daily basis. It's just gotten significantly harder right now.
Let's talk about the likelihood of another possibility. We know from the Prime Minister that these 40,000 troops have been called up, and it's possible that there will be a ground offensive, a ground incursion. What do you think? Is it just possible? Is it probable? Or is it almost certain?
Well, I think it's very possible. It's certainly not certain, Victor. I think there's a lot more that the Israelis are looking to coordinate and hoping that Hamas will stop the rocket launchers, the extensive rocket launchers that they've been doing for a very long time. Again, if you look at the trend lines, this is occurring all the time in Israel. It's just been beefed up recently. And Israel has to deal with this. What Wolf dealt with yesterday, running for cover, that's a daily occurrence in Israel, having been there several times. But I think from the standpoint of a potential attack into Gaza, it's very likely, because this is one of those kind of things where you have to get rid of not only the supplies of rockets, and there's estimated tens of thousands of them, but also the means to launch them.
Okay, we're looking at some of the rocket ranges here, 75 kilometers. So we can see, really how expansive this can get. Let's listen, though, to something Israel Defense Forces spokesman Peter Lerner said this week about Israel's military strategy, and we'll talk on the other side of it here.
We're trying to take out the rocket launching capabilities. We are trying to strike the command and control facilities of Hamas. This is I would say, a clear design, crafted mission. It's not something we're just doing out of a gut reflex.
So let me ask you, General, is the strategy working?
Well, it's not working extremely well, but I think you've seen in the past, Christy, that every time Israel counters the rocket launchers, there's a period after that where the Israeli civilians are living in much more a secure condition. You mentioned the rocket ranges as well. This is something the Israeli military has watched for several years, and it's continued to grow with the introduction of other types of missiles that have been sent, smuggled into Gaza from both Syria and Iran. So this is something that the Israeli military, the Israeli cabinet faces all the time, and every once in a while they just have to ensure that the security of their people becomes more tangible, and unfortunately that takes destroying the systems that Hamas and in some cases Hezbollah uses.
Well, let's talk about that, General. You mentioned Hezbollah. We've got this rocket that came from Lebanon. What's the potential that Israel will have to fight in this iteration of the fighting there, both Hamas and Hezbollah at once?
I don't think that's very likely, Victor, because the rocket launch yesterday was a stray one. It was harassing fire, which is what the northern troops call that on the Lebanese border. They deal with it. It's not targeted fire. It's just rockets and in some cases mortars coming across the border. I don't think that will be the focus of any kind of Israeli action. I certainly think Gaza will be. That seems to be the more significant problem today.
All right, General Mark Hertling, thank you so much for offering your insight to us this morning.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure, thank you so much.